All right, I'm back outside, but I'm inside. Who am I outside with?
The fly lawyer, the one and only fly lawyer.
The fly lawyer, man. I'm glad to have you on the platform, man. I've been watching you. I'm a big fan. You know
Man,
what
I
I'm saying?
appreciate it. You know I appreciate it. And I really appreciate you making the drive to come, even though you're generally outside. I appreciate you accommodating the fly lawyer and coming inside today.
Yeah, I mean, when you got a nice business like this, man, I mean, shoot, it beats being outside. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
All right, so let's get into it, man. My first question I like to part this thing off with is, how is your mental health?
You know, man, I've been so fortunate. The only time I've had bad mental health in my entire life was when I was suffering from COVID. In March of 2020, it was the worst thing I've ever had to experience. But once I got through that, I was back to my normal self.
Hey, that's tough, man. You know, COVID was a real hard time for the people out there, man. Just give them some pointers on how they can keep their mental health on the up and up. You know what I'm saying? For the people that, mental health ain't well. You know?
Absolutely. It's important that you have a balance. It's important that no matter what type of work that you do, you have to have some downtime to be able to have some fun. Whether your hobbies are motorcycle riding, whether it's fishing, golfing, you must be able to have balance that. And my downtime is actually motorcycle riding, rap music, of course, and the Atlanta Falcons. So fortunately, we're having a good year.
I mean, it's too early to be saying the Falcons having a good year, man. You know what I'm saying?
Well, believe it or not, in past times, the season was already over. So at least right now, we're leading the division.
Okay, I'll let you have that, man. For the people who don't know, man, you kind of said a little bit, but tell them what you do. And man, I mean, cause you do a lot of things, right? Kind of
Absolutely.
break down to the people what do you do?
I'm a full-time criminal defense personal injury lawyer. I've been a lawyer now for 32 years. I handle cases ranging from speeding, kidnapping to murder, whatever you can get arrested for. Those are the type cases that I handle. And I also handle car accidents where people are injured by the negligence of another driver. Been doing that now for 32 years.
Man, that's a pretty heavy rap sheet. You know what I'm saying? And you also did a lot of things in the past too before you started doing what you're doing now. We're gonna dive into that a little later. But for the people out there that don't know, you know what I'm saying? Tell them where you're from and kind of paint a picture of the environment that you grew up in.
Absolutely. I was born in a little place called Hogansville, Georgia, which is about maybe an hour, 15 minutes from Atlanta. But we moved to Atlanta when I was about 6 months old. So I grew up in the projects called Egan Homes, John J. Egan Homes in northwest Atlanta, just a mile or two from Spelman, Morehouse, Clark, Atlanta. My mom at the time, even though I was in the nursery there in northwest Atlanta, she worked at a laundry folding clothes.
Right.
And then as I got older, she became a pharmacy technician at Grady Hospital. So most of my teenage, almost to my adult life, my mother worked at Grady Hospital, but we grew up in the projects. We didn't know it was the projects because there was no drive-bys. You know, when guys got to fighting, they were friends 15 minutes later. So it was a good environment. We didn't, in fact, when my mother finally told me when I was 14 that we was moving to a regular apartment, I
Right.
asked her, I said, what is a regular apartment? I thought we lived in a regular apartment. And so had no idea we lived in the projects.
Wow. I mean, it'd be like that. We be kind of desensitized to what's going on in the other side of the world. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Even when I was growing up, I thought I lived pretty good until I went to my friend's house. Like, hold on, you got a little more stuff than I got. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm
Just like
saying?
I didn't even know it was a buck. I didn't even know it was a Buckhead until I became a police officer and
Right.
saw all those nice homes in Buckhead.
Let's dive into this, man. It sounded like you had a one-parent home. So how was that growing up without a father figure?
Absolutely. It certainly my mother raised me, but I did have a father. My father actually lived in Philly, and you would have thought he lived in Atlanta because he was always at my middle school graduation, my high school graduation, my college graduation, my law school graduation. He was the best man at my wedding. So I was fortunate. Although I lived in a one-parent household. My father lived in Philly, but he was so involved in my life, I felt like I had a two-parent household.
Okay. That see, look, that's amazing. Some people don't have that, even if the parent's not there. What a parent, whatever sex it would be, father or female. people, you know what I'm saying, they grow up and, you know what I'm saying, they have to figure out things on their own, you know what I'm saying. Was it a situation where you had to figure out a lot of stuff on your own, or even though he was far away, he still kind of led you through those obstacles?
Absolutely. What my father told me when I was in the 7th grade, he said, son, always remember this. He said, nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream. He said, you have to stay woke and you have to go get it. That motivated me because I didn't want to have the same financial status that my parents had. My mom, as you know, worked at Grady, so it wasn't a big income. My father worked at a dairy plant in Philadelphia. So I knew that there had to be more to life than just working on a job for 20 or 30 years and then retiring. Because as a lawyer, I don't ever plan to retire. I plan to do this till I'm about 110.
I hear that, man. Are you eating right? You healthy? What's going on?
Absolutely.
All right, so get into this, man. As a kid, you know, we all have goals and aspirations. Before you start doing your profession that you're doing now, what kind of goals and aspirations you had going through high school, and when you graduate, this is what I'm going to do?
Absolutely. You know fortunately for me, it started very early, around the 7th grade. Since about that time, I've always knew what I wanted to be, because my uncle was a U.S. Army soldier. And after seeing him, I said, you know, I definitely want to be in the military. So I joined the 82nd Airborne Division right after high school as a paratrooper. And then while in high school, I also met an attorney by the name of Michael Bergen. And so I ended up going to law school, and I worked for Michael Bergen for 3 years in a row as an intern. I had a friend that was a judge, so I already had an idea of the professions that I wanted. I simply met people and I followed their footsteps, because nothing is new in most times. You just have to make your mind up as to how you want to get there when you see other people doing those things. And fortunately, believe it or not, Georgia has been around since 1733. I am the only lawyer in the history of Georgia that's ever been a police officer, a police chief, a municipal court judge, state court judge, superior court judge, and prosecutor. There's never been one before me, and I don't think there'll ever be another one after me.
Whoa. that's very, man. And I knew that because I did my research, and that was one of my questions in here too. But that's amazing. Like, what made you like go through all those steps to do those things? Why didn't you just stick with one thing? What made you want to go up the ladder?
You know, that's a very easy question, because I think my life has been based upon, I never wanted anybody to tell me that I wasn't qualified for something. And the fear of failure. I just couldn't imagine myself failing. So that fear is what kept me motivated from getting my, it kept me where I got my bachelor's degree, I got my master's degree, I got a law degree, and then I end up getting a second law degree, which is a Master of Laws. I think that the drive of saying I don't want anyone to ever tell me that you're not qualified for any position, I think that was the determining and motivating factor.
Okay, let's break it down here, man. When you changed your name legally to the Fly Lawyer.
I did that a little over 2 years ago.
Okay. What was the decision making behind changing it legally to that?
Well, you'll find out I'm one of those lawyers that I'm always honest. Let me first of all say that. Before I became the Fly Lawyer, I was the Bentley Lawyer.
Okay.
Because I drove a Bentley, so I called myself the Bentley Lawyer. I was using the Bentley trademark. I had it on everything that I had. The inside of my jackets had Bentley in it. And one day I got a cease and desist letter from the headquarters of the lawyers for Bentley. And they said, you are using our logo improperly and illegally. And I'm like, wow. I said, I got away with it for 2 years. You know what I mean? So I went home. I was really upset because everybody started knowing me by the Bentley Lawyer.
Right.
And so when I got home, I do my best thinking at about 3:30 in the morning. And I said, well, Jackie, you got to come up with something different. I said, how are you going to reinvent yourself? So I said, well, you wear nothing but Rolex. You wear nothing but Hermes bracelets. You wear nothing but Keith and James hat. You wear nothing but Christian Louboutin red bottom shoes. I said, you'll fly. So the next morning, I went and reserved the name, the Fly Lawyer. And now my name is trademarked in the federal government, the U.S. Patent Office in Washington, D.C. So no one in America can call themselves the Fly Lawyer legally. So now, as mad as I was back then, it was a blessing in disguise, because now I can spend that the rest of my life.
Man, The fly lawyer. Well, the fly lawyer, this you saying a whole bunch of expensive things. You know what I'm saying? Me, I'm the president of the BNA. Do you know what that mean?
I do not.
The Broke Nigga Association. You know what I'm saying?
That's a new one.
So I'm trying to figure out how do a guy like me get to the point in life that you have, that you can actually call yourself Bentley and have one, maybe multiple ones, and you got the Rolls-Royce sign and the Maybach sign, the Maybach sign on the wall.
Yes.
And you got all that. So how can I acquire all these things, man?
You know, I think what you're doing is a good start, because what you're doing now, I can see you elevating it to where it becomes an organization that people look at as a model type situation.
Right.
So I think where you are now is just a matter of time. It really is.
I appreciate that inspiration.
And then you'll be able to have a song like me called Maybach and Rolls Royce. Right.
Let's get into that, man. Music. You make music. You just don't fight cases. You make music as well.
Absolutely.
What made you do that?
Let me tell you how that began. There's a rapper named Stunner.
Okay.
Absolutely fantastic rapper. He's a great writer, great singer. And his brother was facing 8 years in prison with another lawyer. And somebody referred Stunner to me. And not only did I go in and get the felonies dismissed, but he only got 90 days in the county jail on a misdemeanor.
Right.
He was so happy. I told the judge, give him time to turn himself in. My client said, no, Judge, I'm ready to go to jail today because I'm not going to prison.
Right.
And so after it was over, I told Stunner, I said, man, you got to make me a song for keeping your brother out of prison.
Right.
And he made a song called Win For You. And I started using it kind of like a marketing. And it turned out we're now on our 6th song and our 3rd music video. So I ended up becoming an artist. So it blossomed like that.
Now, do you mind giving these people a rendition of one of your songs?
I can do that. Why don't my latest song is called Come to the Fly Side. Because of all of my previous songs, they were all hip hop and upbeat type of songs. So I said, I got to do something for the ladies. You know what I mean?
Come on now.
So I came up with Come to the Fly Side, and it goes something like this.
Give it to me.
Hey, baby, I can tell your man ain't been doing you right. Just chill. Let me make it right. Come with the fly lawyer and let me upgrade you to the fly side. Let me take you shopping and put them red bottoms on your feet, baby. Let's take a ride, come sit on these Maybach seats, baby. Let me give you what you deserve. If I buy for me, I'm gonna buy for you, you know, his and hers. Put that Rolex on your wrist, yeah, we've been spending time. I got the pilot on speed dial, you say the word, we flying.
Come on. Now, speaking of that, man, you know what I'm saying, you're a man of an abundance of money, you know what I'm saying? How do you control yourself with the women? You know
it's pretty easy. That's a very easy. You're asking great questions, but I've already got the answers before you ever ask.
You a lawyer, I mean,
right?
Like, come on, man.
You know, I've been single now for almost 24 years.
No way.
And so obviously I've met a lot of women.
Come on.
But the way you do it is how you start out. And so if you lead with money, you're gonna become a sugar daddy.
Come on.
If you lead with say, I want to be your friend, I want to be a nice guy, but I expect you to be classy, I expect you to have class, to be an honorable lady, then they look at you as an older guy who just happens to want to be nice. And then they don't look at you like a sugar daddy. Even though in the back of their mind, they're looking for a come up, but my dad always said, it's how they make you feel.
Right.
So as long as they make you feel good mentally and don't disrespect you, then you in the ball game. And remember, nothing is free. So, you know, when a girl comes see me, we have a great time. You know, you still gotta cash out some money to get her hair done.
Right.
You know, that's not being a sugar dad. That's just being a gentleman. So that's how. But you can never lead with money. You gotta lead with your heart, with your character, and she has to give you the same in return.
I mean, that's some great advice, man. But you know, they got toxic women out here, man. And some of these women are great manipulators. And they know to play the long game because they already know you got it. They know you're going to give it up if they just stay down. How do you deal with these toxic women?
Well, as I said, I've never had a toxic woman.
I mean, but
let me tell you how.
I'm pretty sure you deal with, let me ask this then. Do you deal with multiple women at one time?
Yes, absolutely, because I'm single. I'm a confirmed bachelor. There's a difference between a bachelor and a confirmed bachelor.
Right.
A bachelor is a guy that's single, and who may get married someday or may get into a committed relationship. But a confirmed bachelor is single to the day he dies. So, so I'm a confirmed bachelor.
So you ain't never getting.
No, I love
Oh
I
my
love
God.
dating. I love newness, and so when you know yourself,
Right.
then you're good to go. So I'm a confirmed bachelor. So the women that I meet, although they are younger, you have to make sure they're very mature, that they have a job, they've got, and keep in mind, if you ever deal with a woman that don't have anything to lose, you're gonna lose every time. That's why the women I date, they may not have as much to lose as me, but they got enough to lose to stay on track.
Okay, you know, older guy. How old are you?
I'm 64.
64. What is the youngest woman that you will deal with, and what's the oldest?
The oldest has been about 34, 35. The average age is 25. That's the average, because since I'm never going to get married again, when you get my age, you just want to have fun.
Right.
So that age is what, because they're not trying to marry me either. So it's a really good balance.
You think they not trying to marry you?
No, they see, you don't give them that impression. So remember, it's how you start out.
Yeah.
If you tell a woman you're going to be single for the rest of your life, they don't come at you that way.
Right.
So I've never had not one single drama incident in 22, 23 years that I've been divorced.
What?
Because keep in mind, I always have to consider that I'm a lawyer, so I have to deal with the right kind of people.
How do you avoid having children? Do you have any?
Oh yeah, my kids are adults. My daughter, she's 27, and my son is 30. My ex-wife is my best friend. So when I had COVID, I lived with her for almost 6 months. She took care of me for 6 months. But yeah, I'm fortunate. So I do. First of all, I'm never going to have kids again.
Right.
And so the worst thing a man can do, if he doesn't want to have kids, you must always have protected sex. I don't believe in unprotected sex. So that's why I've never had kids. And even if I wanted kids, I would never have unprotected sex unless I'm married.
Wow. All right. Well, on a weekly average, how many different women do you deal with?
Well, now I meet probably 15 to 20 a week in terms of new women.
New women, 20?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I meet women at the mall. I meet them at the service station. You know, I mean.
So when I say deal with them, I mean have sexual relations.
Oh no, that's something that I can't divulge.
Right.
But I can tell you that I meet at least 15 to 20 new women out in the city or wherever I am a week. Not that I keep in touch with all of them, because you got to screen.
Right.
If you meet 15 or 20, 3 may meet the cutoff.
Okay. And you never ran across someone that just blew you away and just was like, oh, she the one, like she got the whole package. You know,
Yes, I meet those type of women about 7 to 8 times a week.
And then how do you avoid not going all the way?
Well, that's because I've trained myself to say I'm single for the rest of my life. So no matter how excited I am about her, I still have my limits.
Have you ever been caught up, like they caught you with another girl, or they, you know?
No, because every girl I know knows that I date other women. So you got to be honest. When a girl says, "Are you dating?" I say several. So we don't have that issue. Remember, the worst thing you could do is lie to a woman, because most women want the same thing you want if you're honest.
Wow.
So as I said, I've never had a single incident in the whole time I've been divorced.
They need to write a book. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
how to keep these women in check. You need to write a book, man. And not necessarily in check, but just keep them at bay.
Just to keep them pleasant.
Right.
And part of it is that you got to be honest. Because when you're honest, they're not going to expect anything other than honesty. But if you come at them and say, "Hey, I'm single, I'm not dating anybody, you're the only one," they find out later that you got 3 more on the line,
right?
That's a problem. But I tell them up front, I've got several. So if you want to be my friend, we can roll like that. And that's how I've never had any issues.
Man, dang. So you're a player, man. You should call
it's
yourself
called
the player lawyer.
It's called being fly.
Being fly. You know what I'm saying? Okay. We'll let you slide with being fly. But that's player for sure. You know what I'm saying? Being in the field that you in, man, do you get any backlash on the way you dress? You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, they can look at us a certain way and say he dressed like a pimp, or he dressed like he better than everybody. Like, because lawyers, they come in the regular black suit, you know. So how what kind of backlash you get from doing this?
It's absolutely amazing. Judges, when I go to court, judges will say, "Hey, let me see what red bottoms you have on today." Right. Or can you open your jacket? Let me take a look at that. So I've been fortunate. the judges and the lawyers, they support me because they know I'm humble, first of all. They know that I'm not going to put shade on anyone else, but they know there's only one fly lawyer. So they always give me my credit, they give me my props. And in fact, when I go to court, the judges don't call me Jackie Patterson. They'll say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the defendant is represented by the fly lawyer, because that is my legal name. So that's how much respect I get. I don't have any haters that I know of, because I just don't believe in that.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, haters is a big contributing factor to a lot of people's success. You know, so I be looking at myself like, where my haters at? I need them.
Right.
I need them to pop out. I need them in the comments. I need them to share. I need them to talk, man. So I get that on where the haters at.
Fortunately, I don't get negative comments on any of my social.
Right.
And that's because I keep things above board and I keep it professional.
Right.
Yes.
Right. For sure, man. That's amazing, because just looking at the wardrobe, how many different suits do you have?
Well, all of my clothes are about my work clothes, like my suits and so forth. My designer is Miguel Wilson Collection. In fact, I'm his ambassador. So that's the only thing you'll ever see me in, like this jacket. I have roughly about 375 suits at home.
Jesus Christ.
And my casual designer, his name is called Sador. And in terms of casual jackets, blazers, just casual things, I would probably say about anywhere from 75 to 100 casual things. But my main designer is Miguel Wilson Collection.
Do we always go blazer?
Yeah, and like for an example, when I don't have court, yes, I still have on a blazer with jeans and sneakers like I have on today.
Right, because we ain't, this how you dress. We ain't in no court situation. This is how you dress.
Yeah, this is my everyday flyness.
Right, and then the shoes of choice is always the same company?
Oh, absolutely. If you see the big pictures on the wall here,
right?
I'm on my 254th pair of red bottoms.
God dang.
That is all you'll ever see me in is red bottoms, because that's part of my flyness.
What size you wear, man? Give me
size 11.
Give me a pair of them red bottoms, man. Hook my brother up.
Yes, I don't even have any other. Yeah. Even when I go to the trash can take the trash out,
right?
I've got red bottoms on.
Slippers.
Yes.
Jesus. I mean, how when did you really started making money? Because, you ain't just jumping the game and just making all this money. So where were we in life to where you say, like, okay, I'm finna make a change in my life, and when did the money start rolling in to the point where you can afford to do all these things?
I've been a lawyer now 32 years. I would say around my 15th year, when I really saw things begin to change. And let me tell you why. Because, when you go through a divorce, you have to start over. So, and obviously I had small kids. My son was 6, my daughter was 3. So you have to focus on them at that time. So around my 15th year is when I started getting murder cases, armed robbery cases, high profile cases. And then once you start winning those cases, that's when other people start hiring you. So it was around my 15th year that the money and the finances and my reputation began to grow.
So now with the marketing that you have, and being a fly lawyer, being a rapper now, having a wardrobe, do this attract more high clientele clients? I mean, I might say that so wrong. I said, did this attract more high-end clients now?
Not at all, because I still represent people who got simply a traffic ticket. Remember, as a lawyer, whether you got a traffic ticket, charged with murder, or DUI, I treat you the same. It just so happened I get a lot more clients of the more serious cases because those people can afford me.
Okay.
Even though I don't turn down traffic tickets, because to me, they still need good representation, even if you get a traffic ticket.
Right.
So I don't discriminate based upon what you're charged with. Excuse me 1 second.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Handle that.
It's simply that you're going to get the same quality service whether you pay me $500 or $100,000. My dedication to you remains the same.
That's lovely. How you remain so humble, man, with all this? Like, because you probably could retire today. You know what I'm saying? How do you remain so humble, and then how do you keep going knowing that you are already good in life?
I just think it's a passion. I love winning. It's something about winning.
Okay.
So when you hire me, I start thinking, what am I going to do to beat up on this district attorney? Because I just don't like losing. So, and the fact that this job is so easy for me,
right,
because I don't have to think about, once you tell me what your issue is, already know what your defense is going to be. So there are times, give you an example, I defended a guy on an armed robbery with just a notepad and a pen because I left my briefcase at home thinking that the judge was not going to take my case today. The judge didn't even allow me to leave. But since I knew my facts and I knew the law, I won an armed robbery. And the actual deputy gave me the notepad to write with.
I'm going to ask you this then. What is your winning percentage if you know what I'm saying?
It would be right at 92, 93%.
Okay.
And I've had over 1,500 jury trials.
1,500.
And now keep in mind, in a 20-year career, the average lawyer only has about 20 jury trials in 20 years.
Right.
I've had over 1,400 in 32 years.
Jesus. Now, what was your most profitable case, if you could say?
Well, generally, they would be murder cases because I charge $100,000 for a murder case.
Right.
So, and I've probably had, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15 of those in my career because most of the individuals charged with murder cannot afford a lawyer. So they would get a public defender. But fortunately, I've had people where the grandmothers chipped in, the fathers, and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Now, they pay this over time. They don't pay you up front?
They do. I always require 50% down.
Okay.
And then on a murder case, it takes at least 3 years before you go to trial. So they are paid in full before we go to trial.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Now, get into this, man. We're going to jump into the fly lawyer's advice. You know what I'm saying? I got some cases for you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see what you think about them, if you even know about them, and how would you attack these cases. Okay. Right? The first case I got is young Durk. You know about what happened to Lil Durk?
Yes.
Okay, so Lil Durk, you know, they put him in a situation where he had a murder for hire situation. It's not yet a RICO, but due to the people that are involved and the other things that are happening around it, it could possibly be such a thing. So how would you defend young Durk?
Well, I would defend him the same way I would do in most cases, and it's a theory that I always do. Mm-hmm. When you get arrested, this is always my defense. One is that it's not me.
Okay.
Second of all, if it is me, then I didn't do anything. The third part is that if it's you and you did do something, then you want to mitigate the damage. That's how I handle every case.
Okay, little Durk, right? Mm-hmm. Little Durk, he tried to flee. You know what I'm saying? So he booked like 3 different flights.
No, let me tell you. I already told you how I would defend him.
Okay, come on, get to me.
He didn't try to flee. He booked his flights so he can determine whether there was a warrant for him. That's why he booked a flight.
Across the country, though.
Right, but the key is that he was only trying to determine whether there's a warrant for him, whether he could go turn himself in or not.
Right.
That's what I believe happened.
Do you think it's a smart thing to book multiple flights knowing that the people are seeking you?
Well, keep in mind, I can't represent Lil Durk because he's out in California.
Right.
His case will be in California. But if his case was in Georgia, I would first of all make sure he didn't make any statements to the police. That's the first thing. Mm-hmm. Because when you start talking, you're sinking yourself from day one. But if his case was in Georgia, I would still use that same 3 theory that they got the wrong person. I was there, but I didn't do anything. And if I was there, and if I did something, it was so less of an act to where it was minimal.
Do it look like Lil Durk even gonna get a? Do it look like he's even gonna get a bond at this point, because he does have informants? Like one of the guys, I think his name. What's his name? I can't remember his name. Jesus, they're gonna kill me.
Well, let me tell you, when it comes to the federal government, they don't generally arrest you unless they already have all the evidence. Let me tell you the difference between the federal government and the state government. The state government will just come at you and arrest you without any evidence, and then their case falls apart, particularly like in the YSL case. Right. It falls apart. But when the federal government arrests you, they have spent a year to 2 years with undercover informants. People are being wired. Most people, they have a 98% conviction rate, the federal government. Right. So you're either going to plead guilty or you're going to be found guilty. Very few people are found not guilty with the federal government.
I mean, all right, so the person name is Jam, got his name. So with all these, So are you familiar with everything that's going on with the Durk case, or
I'm
just
not.
like bits?
I
bits and
just
pieces?
started looking at it about a couple of days ago.
Right. So pretty much one of the witnesses is Jam, which is like his right hand partner. And of course, Quando Rondo and the King Von situation King Von ended up dying due to Lil Timmy. So that's on Quando Rondo's side. So apparently they've been trying to catch Quando Rondo ever since that time, right? They finally caught him in L.A., and it was 3 people that was involved. It was a person that was giving up the location, and it was a person that was which is Jam. They saying it's Jam that was actually going to do the quote unquote murder of Quando Rondo's friend, right? So when they catch him in L.A., they end up killing Quando Rondo's friend, cousin, or whatever you want to call it. And apparently Jam is giving the government or the feds, whoever, all this information about the time, who set up the location, who's involved, if was it money exchange, could they end up doing the murder, then going to a burger spot to talk about the money. Okay. They took a private jet to LA just for that day, and then took a private jet back, used the credit cards to buy ski masks, gloves, and all type of crazy things, right? So, and they're trying to call it murder for hire, right? So with all that information and knowing that there's more witnesses to come and the more murders that was, that happened too, do you think Durk will even get a bail after this?
There's a chance there's about a 98% chance he'll be denied bond. If he is given a bond, it's going to be in the $1 million, couple of $1 million range.
Right.
If he's given a bond. But the reason why I don't take federal cases, as good as I am, because they've got the goods on you.
They got it.
Before they ever arrest you. So I'm just not going to take a case when there's a 98% chance with the federal government that you're going to have to do a plea or you're going to be found guilty.
All right, I mean, I'm saying this coming from the fly lawyer, man. All right, so let's get into a Young Thug case, man, the YSL trial. It's been a lot of what's your initial thought on the YSL trial?
Well, I think the government put too much into something. They could have simplified it. They called too many witnesses.
Right.
You don't need 200 witnesses to prove whether somebody committed RICO or murder. You don't need that. So they did overkill, and that's how it's backfired on them. And that's why, as of today, some of those defendants are now getting 20 years to serve 7, because the government now realized it's falling apart. So I think they're smart. The government is smart by offering these people good plea deals so they can save faith that they didn't lose the case completely. Eventually, they're going to offer Young Thug a good plea deal that's going to keep him out of prison, out of that life sentence that he's facing.
Right.
I think it's going to turn out to be okay. Now, he may end up getting a little bit more time, but it's not going to be what you would get if you get convicted of murder.
Would you take that if you was asked to be Young Thug's lawyer, regardless if he's Young Thug, he could be called Jimmy. Would you take that case?
Yes, I would, because if you hire me, I'm on your side. Period. I could care less.
Is that a winnable case, basically what I'm saying?
Yes. No one thought that in the beginning.
Right.
Because the DA came out so strong. But now everything is backfiring. So those lawyers, when they get these great plea deals, it's going to benefit them, because now other people are going to be trying to hire them. Even though it took them 1.5 years, 2 years to get this deal, anything short of a life sentence in these cases is a good deal.
All the things that happen like behind the scenes, probably with the judge and everything.
That's correct.
That they switched the judge. How common is that? Is that like real rare, or that's a common thing?
Well, it's very rare. Not many times will a judge ever have a private conversation with the prosecutor and a witness without the defense attorneys being present. That is totally illegal, probably anywhere in America.
Right.
So I think, first of all, that's why he got removed from the case. But yes, that's in my 32 years, that's the first time I've ever heard of it happening.
Right. And then we got Funny going at it with Trump, and then she's a part of this case. So it's just like, it sounds like a circus.
It's a circus right now.
Right.
And that's why the DA is making all of these good deals so they can say they didn't lose the case, but they can't say they won either.
Because they spending resources.
Yes.
Spending resources. Okay, boom. Tory Lanez. Megan. Tory just put in, I don't know the term.
A habeas corpus.
Yeah, I can't say that word. Yeah, that right. Whatever, however you say that, a habeas corpus. So how do you feel like Tory's finna end up with putting in his?
Yeah, let me tell you the purpose of a habeas corpus.
Okay.
The purpose of a habeas corpus is to challenge your conviction. You're saying that my conviction was unlawful, whether it be your lawyer did something wrong, the trial judge did something wrong, improper communication with the jury, ineffective assistance of counsel of your lawyer. So you're saying that I'm being held illegally because something went wrong with my trial. And if a judge grants that habeas corpus, then you're absolutely free.
So looking at Tory case, I don't want you to pick a side and that like that, but do you think Tory got like a beatable situation? Like, did you think that he should have got locked up for this, or you think they didn't have enough evidence? What did you think about it?
You know, since the case was in another state, I really didn't follow it, so I'm not real privy to what took place to get him convicted.
Right.
But I do know a habeas corpus, if it's granted by the judge, he will walk free. Then the government will decide if they want to retry him, because the government can retry you if you win on a habeas corpus.
That's right. All right. I know everybody followed this case. P. Diddy. First initial thoughts on the P. Diddy case, and do you think it's a beatable case?
Well, if I was his lawyer, I would have to charge him at least $10 million, because that's how much work going to have to be put in that case to save him, if he can be saved. My personal view, based upon what I've seen so far, I don't think he can be saved. I think no matter how much money he spends on a lawyer, I believe he's, in my view of what I've seen so far,
right,
he is going to prison.
Right. Because it's evidence.
Yep.
The tapes.
Absolutely.
Why do you think the government would take all the baby oil, thousands of bottles? Why would they take all the oil and not just take one for a sample?
Well, they're saying that allegedly it was laced with GHB, which is date rape drug. And they're claiming that he either put it in their liquid, whatever they were drinking, or that he rubbed it on their body and it soaked in and then knocked them out.
So they took, okay, that made total sense. So with all that information, it's pretty tough. Tapes, right? Would you advise your client to keep tapes? Because, R. Kelly got caught with the tapes, P. Diddy got the tapes. What would you advise your clients to do to get rid of these tapes? Because why do they even have them?
Well, I would never advise my client to get rid of tapes, because that's a crime.
Right.
So I would just let them do whatever they see fit, and then I would defend them based upon what the evidence is when we get to trial. It is a crime for a lawyer to say, let me tell you how to do A, B, and C. So that's how lawyers get in trouble, because when they get paid, they start giving advice on how to commit a crime. That's a mistake. When you hire me, let me tell you what happened one time. I had a client that came to me, hired me, gave me $20,000, and it was an armed robbery. And he said, Mr. Patterson, I want you to tell the jury that I was in California, even though I was here in Atlanta. I immediately shut him down, gave him a refund, and told him never to call me again, because there's no way I or any lawyer should ever commit a crime by helping somebody commit perjury.
You know the perception of a lawyer is that lawyers lie very well. So is that a true thing? Or?
That is not true. You have ethical and unethical lawyers. That's the difference. Ethical lawyers are only going to present the facts that come to him. Unethical lawyers will try to change the facts, and you can't do that. That's how lawyers get in trouble. I work with the facts that come to me. I don't create facts. I create reasonable doubt.
That's okay. I can rock with that. I know you pressed for time, so we're gonna get you up out of here. I think we at the 38-minute mark. All right. So last question, I like to pop this thing off with, man. Is this is your commercial? Say yourself to the people. For the people that don't know, people that do know, say yourself to the people, man. Go.
There's only one fly lawyer, and you're looking at him, because every time you see me, I'll be dripping and I'll be saucing. I am that lawyer that keeps you out of jail during the week, and I party with you on the weekend. My Instagram is The Fly Lawyer. My website is theflylawyer.com. And remember, if you're fighting that case, make one phone call, and the Fly Lawyer is coming through.
And that's what we outside with. Gone.